There is a drink sitting on a gas station shelf right now between the soda and the juice that contains more species of living bacteria than your entire digestive system. Not 10 species, not 20, over 30 distinct strains of bacteria and yeast, working together in a living colony that rebuilds itself every time you brew a batch. One 8-ounce glass of it lowered fasting blood sugar in diabetic patients from 164 to 116 milligrams per deciliter in 4 weeks. Not a pharmaceutical, not an injection. A drink that costs $4 a bottle at the store and less than 12 cents to make at home. For over 2,000 years, Chinese emperors called it the tea of immortality. Then in the 1990s, the beverage industry discovered they could bottle it, pasteurize it, strip out half the living cultures and sell it back to you at a 3,000% markup. What they do not tell you is that this drink brews itself on your kitchen counter from 3 ingredients you already have. This is the story of kombucha. During the Qin dynasty around 221 BCE, Chinese physicians prescribed a fermented tea they called the divine tasgay. Emperor Qin Shi Huangdi, the man who unified China and built the Great Wall, consumed it as an elixir of longevity. The drink spread along the Silk Road into Korea, Japan and India, adapting to every culture it touched. By the 16th century, Russian households were brewing it under the name cheni oi grib, tea mushroom, passing the living culture from family to family like a shared inheritance. It became so embedded in daily life that during World War I, German and Russian prisoners of war drank it in the camps. By the 1920s, pharmacies across the Westphalian industrial region of Germany sold it under names like Mogu and Fungo Japon. Then World War II arrived, sugar was rationed across Europe, and the culture that had survived 2 millennia of human civilization nearly disappeared because it could not ferment without sugar, its single essential fuel. After the war, it resurfaced in kitchens across Europe and Asia, passed hand to hand the same way it always had, free, alive, and impossible to patent. Here is what makes kombucha different from every other fermented food. The engine that drives it is called a SCOBY, a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. It looks like a rubbery disc floating on top of the tea, and it is one of the most sophisticated microbial ecosystems you can hold in your hand. The bacteria and yeast inside it work in tandem. The yeast consumes sugar and produces alcohol and carbon dioxide. The bacteria, primarily Comagatae salinus, converts that alcohol into acetic acid, lactic acid, and glucuronic acid. The result is a drink that is simultaneously probiotic, prebiotic, and rich in organic acids that support liver detoxification and immune function. In 2023, researchers at Georgetown University Medical Center published the first randomized controlled clinical trial testing kombucha on human diabetic patients. 12 adults with type 2 diabetes drank 8 ounces of kombucha every day for 4 weeks in a double-blinded crossover design. Their average fasting blood glucose dropped from 164 to 116 milligrams per deciliter. The placebo group showed no statistically significant change. The American Diabetes Association recommends fasting blood sugar between 70 and 130. 1 glass of kombucha a day brought diabetic patients from dangerously elevated levels into the recommended range in 28 days. Studies from Brazil, Spain and the United States have confirmed additional effects. These include reduced triglyceride levels, increased populations of beneficial gut bacteria, including Bifidobacterium and Akkermansia, and decreased abundance of obesity-associated bacterial genera. Here is how you start brewing tonight. You need 3 things: tea, sugar, and a SCOBY. If you do not have a SCOBY, you can grow one from a single bottle of raw unpasteurized store-bought kombucha for about $4. Pour the bottle into a wide-mouth glass jar, add 2 cups of cooled sweet black tea, cover with a cloth secured by a rubber band and wait 1 to 4 weeks. A thin rubbery disc will form on the surface. That is your SCOBY. It will last years, and it will grow a new layer with every batch you brew. Once you have your SCOBY, the first fermentation is simple. Boil 4 cups of water, steep 4 bags of black tea for 15 minutes, stir in 3/4 of a cup of plain white sugar until dissolved, Pour this into a gallon glass jar and add 8 cups of cool filtered water. Let the temperature drop below 85 degrees. Add your SCOBY and 2 cups of starter liquid from your previous batch or from the store-bought kombucha you used to grow it. Cover with a tightly woven cloth and secure with a rubber band. Set the jar somewhere room temperature, between 70 and 80 degrees, out of direct sunlight. Do not touch it for 5 days. On day 5, taste it with a clean straw. If it is still too sweet, let it ferment longer. If it tastes tart and slightly tangy with a hint of sweetness remaining, it is ready. Most batches finish between 7 and 12 days. When your first fermentation is done, remove the SCOBY and reserve 2 cups of liquid as starter for your next batch. Pour the rest into flip-top glass bottles, leaving about an inch of headspace. This is where the magic happens. Add a tablespoon of fruit juice, a few slices of ginger, or a handful of crushed berries to each bottle. Seal them tight. Leave at room temperature for 2 to 4 days. The remaining yeast will consume the added sugar and produce carbon dioxide trapped inside the sealed bottle. When you open it, you have naturally carbonated, fruit-flavoured probiotic kombucha. That is it. Your total ongoing cost per gallon is 4 tea bags at roughly 10 cents each, 3/4 of a cup of sugar at about 30 cents, and whatever fruit you use for flavouring. Call it $1 per gallon. That gallon yields 8 16-ounce bottles. Your cost per bottle is roughly 12 cents. The same bottle at the grocery store costs $3 to $5. If you drink 1 bottle a day, store-bought kombucha costs you over $1,400 a year. Homemade costs $44. You save over $1,300 annually, and your version contains more living cultures because it was never pasteurized, never filtered, and never sat on a refrigerated shelf for weeks losing potency. Week 1, your SCOBY is growing in a jar on the counter. You check it every few days and watch the thin film form on the surface. Week 2, that film thickens into a 1/4 inch disc, and you brew your first batch of sweet tea to begin the first fermentation. Week 3, you taste that batch and bottle it with ginger and lemon for the second fermentation. 2 days later, you crack open a bottle and hear the fizz of natural carbonation. It tastes tart, alive, and nothing like the flat, pasteurized version at the store. By month 1, your brewing rhythm is established. Every 7 to 10 days, you bottle 1 batch and start another. Your SCOBY has grown a new layer, and you peel it off for a second jar or give it to a friend. By month 2, you are experimenting with flavors: blueberry ginger, pineapple turmeric, apple cinnamon. Each batch costs $1 and produces 8 bottles of living probiotic drink. By month 3, you stop buying kombucha at the store entirely. That is $15 to $20 a week back in your pocket. By month 6, you have a thriving culture that feeds itself, a refrigerator stocked with flavors you created, and a daily health practice that Chinese emperors, Russian families, and German pharmacists all trusted for centuries. The jar on your counter regenerates itself. The SCOBY grows back every single batch. The only recurring cost is tea and sugar. Quick thing before we continue. If you are watching this and not subscribed, now is the time. 1 click, it is free, and it helps us keep making content like this. On mobile, smash the hype button too. We really appreciate you. The global kombucha market was valued at over $4 billion in 2024 and is projected to reach $9 to $15 billion by the early 2030s. The broader functional beverage industry exceeds $130 billion. Store-bought kombucha costs $3 to $5 per 16-ounce bottle because it requires glass packaging, constant refrigeration, and a supply chain designed to keep a product stable on a shelf. Many commercial beermans pasteurize their kombucha to extend shelf life, which kills the very probiotics that made the drink valuable in the first place. Others suppress the yeast activity to prevent continued fermentation in the bottle, reducing microbial diversity. The industry sells you a diluted version of something your kitchen counter produces in its full living form for 12 cents. The pattern is familiar. Take an ancient practice that was free, free as in passed hand-to-hand between neighbours for 2,000 years, and engineer a commercial version that requires a supply chain, a brand, a marketing budget, and a price tag 30 times higher than the homemade original. Tonight, boil water. Steep 4 bags of black tea, stir in sugar, cool it down, pour it into a glass jar and add a bottle of raw kombucha from the store. Cover the jar with a cloth and walk away. In 1 to 4 weeks, a living culture will form on the surface of that jar. This culture is genetically identical to the ones Chinese physicians prescribed 2,000 years ago, the ones Russian families passed between households for centuries, and the ones German pharmacists sold as medicine. That culture will brew you a gallon of probiotic tea every week for the rest of your life. It will cost you $1 per batch. It will contain more species of living bacteria than any supplement on the market. It will carbonate itself inside a sealed bottle using nothing but fruit sugar and thyme. No factory, no brand, no refrigerated truck. No $4 price tag. Just tea, sugar, a living culture that rebuilds itself every 7 days, and the oldest brewing tradition the human race ever invented, still working exactly the way it did when the first cup of sweet tea was left on a windowsill in ancient China and something alive began to grow. Thanks for watching. Click here to check out another video and make sure to hit subscribe. If you want to take this even further, click the link in the description to visit our website and grab our ebook.